asterisk 10 skills that pay you for the rest of your life. Every one of us has been told at some point that success is about finding the right opportunity, meeting the right people, or being in the right place at the right time. But what if we've been asking the wrong question all along? What if success has never been about chasing opportunities, but about becoming the kind of person opportunities chase? Think about that for a moment. The world changes every single day. Technology changes. Industries change. Jobs disappear. Entire careers that existed 10 years ago no longer exist today, yet there are people who continue to rise no matter what happens around them. Why? Because they possess skills that no recession can steal, no economic crisis can erase, and no algorithm can fully replace. Money comes and goes. Businesses rise and fall, markets crash and recover, but when you build the right skills, you carry your wealth within you everywhere you go. Nobody can take it away. Nobody can tax it out of existence. Nobody can bankrupt it. Your greatest investment is never the stock market. Your greatest investment is the person you become. The first skill that pays you for the rest of your life is the ability to communicate. Not just speaking, but connecting. Words have built companies, saved relationships, inspired nations, and changed history. If you can clearly express an idea, if you can make another human being feel understood, if you can influence without manipulation and lead without force, you will never struggle to create value. The second skill is learning how to learn. Most people stop learning the day they leave school, but the people who stay curious never stop growing. The future belongs to those who can adapt faster than change itself. Every new skill you master opens another door, and every door leads to another opportunity. Curiosity compounds just like money does. The third skill is emotional intelligence. Intelligence may help you solve problems, but emotional intelligence helps you solve people. You can have incredible ideas, but if you cannot build trust, navigate conflict, or understand emotions, your potential remains trapped inside you. Every meaningful achievement in life involves other people. Learn people, and you unlock possibilities that talent alone can never reach. The fourth skill is discipline. Motivation is exciting, but it is temporary. Discipline is quiet, often invisible, yet it creates extraordinary lives. The people you admire are rarely extraordinary because they were always motivated. They became extraordinary because they kept going when motivation disappeared. Every small promise you keep to yourself strengthens your character, and character is what determines your future when no one is watching. The fifth skill is problem solving. Every paycheck is ultimately a reward for solving someone's problem. The bigger the problem you solve, the greater the value you create. Instead of asking, how can I make more money? Begin asking, what problems can I solve better than anyone else? That single shift changes everything because the marketplace rewards usefulness, not wishful thinking. The sixth skill is resilience. Life will test every dream you have. There will be failures you never expected, disappointments you never deserved, and moments when quitting seems reasonable. But resilience is choosing to continue even when certainty disappears. It is understanding that every setback carries a lesson, every obstacle hides an opportunity, and every challenge shapes the person capable of handling greater success. The seventh skill is decision-making. Your life is nothing more than the accumulation of the decisions you make every single day. Small choices repeated consistently become extraordinary results. Successful people are not perfect decision-makers. They simply refuse to let fear make their decisions for them. The eighth skill is financial wisdom. It is not about earning more. It is about managing wisely. Income can make you comfortable, but wisdom creates freedom. Learning how money works allows your effort to multiply long after the work is done. The ninth skill is building relationships. Opportunities rarely arrive through strangers. They arrive through trust. Every conversation is a chance to plant a seed that may grow into something remarkable years later. Treat people with respect not because of what they can do for you, but because character is remembered long after achievements are forgotten. Finally, the 10th skill is taking action. Knowledge without action changes nothing. Dreams without action remain entertainment. Ideas without execution become regrets. There will never be a perfect moment, perfect conditions, or perfect confidence. Progress belongs to those who begin before they feel ready. Imagine where your life could be 5 years from now if you committed yourself to mastering just one of these skills at a time. Imagine the confidence you would carry knowing your value no longer depends on a job title, a company, or circumstances beyond your control. The world will continue to change, but when you become someone who can learn, adapt, communicate, solve problems, lead with integrity, and act with courage, you become future-proof. Success is not a destination waiting somewhere ahead of you. It is the natural consequence of becoming a person who creates value wherever they go. So leave today with one decision. Stop chasing shortcuts and start building skills. Skills become habits. Habits become character. Character becomes destiny. And when you invest in yourself with consistency and purpose, the return on that investment continues paying you for the rest of your life. Success isn't about waiting for your moment. It's about becoming impossible to ignore when the moment arrives. And I want you to think about how many people spend their lives believing that one day everything will suddenly change for them, that a phone call will come, that someone important will notice them, that the perfect opportunity will appear, that confidence will magically arrive, that the world will finally recognize their potential. And while they are waiting, they are unknowingly training themselves for a life of hesitation. We are taught to wait for permission. Wait until you're qualified. Wait until you have enough money. Wait until you know more. Wait until the timing is better. Wait until you feel ready. But the people who change their lives are almost never the people who felt ready. They are the people who decided to prepare before anyone was watching. They understood that opportunity is rarely announced in advance. It doesn't send a calendar invitation. It doesn't ask whether you're comfortable. It simply appears, often disguised as pressure, uncertainty, responsibility, or a challenge that looks too big for you. And when that moment arrives, the world doesn't ask what your dreams are. It asks what your habits are. It asks what you have practiced. It asks who you have become. Imagine two people standing in the same room. They are offered the exact same opportunity. One sees possibility, the other sees fear. One steps forward, the other steps back. The difference is not intelligence. The difference is preparation. One person has spent years building skills, discipline, and confidence through action. The other has spent years imagining success without training for it. We love stories about overnight success because they are exciting. But what we call overnight success is usually years of invisible preparation finally becoming visible. The singer practiced when nobody listened. The entrepreneur failed quietly before anyone knew their name. The athlete trained before there were cameras. The speaker gave talks to tiny audiences before standing on a big stage. The world notices the moment, but it rarely sees the years that created it. That is why waiting is so dangerous. Waiting feels safe, but it slowly convinces you that your future depends on external events rather than internal growth. You start believing that the right connection will save you, that luck is the missing ingredient, that other people have advantages you don't have. But if you study people who consistently succeed, you'll find something surprising. They focus obsessively on becoming valuable. They ask different questions. Instead of asking, when will I get my chance, they ask, if my chance came tomorrow, would I be ready? That question changes everything. If your chance came tomorrow, could you communicate your ideas clearly? Could you handle pressure? Could you solve problems? Could you lead people? Could you deliver results repeatedly? Could you continue when things became difficult? These are not talents reserved for a lucky few. They are skills built through repetition. Think about how many opportunities are lost not because people lack potential, but because they lack readiness. A promotion appears, but they haven't developed leadership skills. A business opportunity appears, but they haven't learned how to sell. A networking opportunity appears, but they haven't practiced communicating with confidence. A creative opportunity appears, but they haven't consistently created anything. The moment arrives, but they are invisible because they never built the abilities that make people pay attention. Becoming impossible to ignore is not about being the loudest person in the room. It is about becoming so useful, so reliable, so skilled, and so prepared that when responsibility appears, people naturally think of you. That kind of reputation is built long before the opportunity comes. Every day you are either increasing or decreasing the likelihood that someone will trust you with something bigger. The way you handle small tasks becomes evidence for larger ones. The way you show up when nobody is impressed becomes the foundation for the day when everyone is watching. I know many people who say they want extraordinary results, but their daily actions are designed for ordinary outcomes. They want confidence, but they avoid uncomfortable conversations. They want success, but they resist consistent effort. They want recognition, but they disappear when things get difficult. You cannot become impossible to ignore while constantly choosing comfort over growth. The truth is that growth is often boring. It is reading when nobody tells you to, practicing when there is no applause, waking up early when nobody would know if you slept in, improving one small skill repeatedly, even when progress feels invisible. Most people underestimate how powerful invisible progress is because they are addicted to visible results. They want immediate evidence that their effort is working. But the most important changes happen quietly. A stronger mindset develops quietly, better communication develops quietly, better judgment develops quietly, better discipline develops quietly. Then one day people say, "You've changed," as if it happened suddenly. Imagine a tree growing underground for years before it becomes visible above the surface. The roots are not exciting, but they determine everything that follows. Your habits are roots, your learning is roots, your discipline is roots, your integrity is roots. When the opportunity arrives, it doesn't create your abilities, it reveals them. One of the biggest mistakes people make is believing that confidence comes before action. They think successful people step forward because they are confident. In reality, confidence is usually the result of repeated action. You become confident in speaking by speaking. You become confident in business by doing business. You become confident in leadership by taking responsibility. Waiting to feel confident before acting is like waiting to get fit before going to the gym. The action creates the confidence, not the other way around. This is why preparation matters so much. Every small act of courage deposits evidence into your mind that you can handle more than you thought. Another mistake is comparing your beginning to someone else's middle. You see people who are already being noticed and assume they were always exceptional. You don't see the awkward early attempts, the rejected applications, the small audiences, the mistakes, the doubt, the years of obscurity. Comparison becomes a distraction from the only thing that matters: your own improvement. The goal is not to be better than everyone else. The goal is to be noticeably better than you were 6 months ago. Because if you keep improving while most people stay the same, eventually the gap becomes impossible to ignore. Let me tell you something that changed the way I think about success. Opportunities are often attracted to momentum. People are drawn to individuals who are already moving. When someone sees that you are learning, creating, working, improving, and taking initiative, they become more likely to open doors for you. But if you are waiting passively, there is nothing for opportunity to attach itself to. Motion creates visibility. Effort creates connections. Consistency creates trust. Even luck tends to favor people who are already in the game. Think about the people who seem to get unexpected opportunities. They are usually the ones who keep showing up. They attend the event, they publish the work, they ask the question, they volunteer for the project, they send the message. They stay engaged long enough for something unexpected to happen. The person who never shows up rarely gets discovered. Becoming impossible to ignore also means developing standards that separate you from the average. Average is crowded because it requires very little. Slightly above average is already rare. Return messages promptly. Be prepared. Keep your word. Learn continuously. Treat people with respect. Finish what you start. These sound simple, but simple is not the same as common. Many careers are built not on extraordinary talent, but on extraordinary reliability. If people can count on you consistently, you become memorable. And in a world full of inconsistency, reliability stands out. There will be periods when your effort feels unnoticed. This is the stage where many people quit. They think, what's the point? Nobody sees this. But the point is not immediate recognition. The point is identity. Every time you do the work without external rewards, you are proving to yourself who you are. You are becoming someone who acts based on values, not applause. That identity becomes incredibly powerful because it makes you less dependent on motivation. You no longer need to feel inspired to make progress. You simply become the kind of person who does what matters. I want you to imagine your future self 5 years from now. Which version of you would be impossible to ignore? The version that spent 5 years consuming content, waiting for certainty, and talking about goals? Or the version that spent 5 years practicing communication, learning new skills, building relationships, taking calculated risks, and showing up consistently? The difference between those two futures is not one dramatic decision. It is thousands of ordinary decisions repeated over time. Read one more chapter, make one more call, practice one more hour, apply for one more opportunity, introduce yourself to one more person, improve 1% more. Small improvements feel insignificant in the moment, but compounded over years, they create a completely different person. And when the big moment finally arrives, people will think you were lucky. They will see the opportunity, not the preparation. They will see the breakthrough, not the years of becoming. They will see the spotlight, not the repetitions in the dark. They will assume it happened quickly because they only started paying attention when the results became visible. But you will know the truth. You will know that the real victory happened long before anyone noticed. It happened the day you stopped waiting. It happened the day you decided that your future would not depend on perfect timing. It happened the day you chose growth over comfort, action over excuses, preparation over wishing, and consistency over intensity. Because the world is full of talented people who are waiting for their moment, and it is also full of ordinary people who became extraordinary by preparing so thoroughly that when their moment finally arrived, nobody could ignore them. I prefer this response.